Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and today we're going to be doing another review. This time though, we're not reviewing a movie, we're actually reviewing a TV show, and surprise surprise, it is not from the horror genre. It is actually a crime drama TV show. So this show I'm going to be reviewing today, as you probably saw from the title, is called Defending Jacob. This one just came out this year, 2020. I'm going to give you guys some information about it and just share my thoughts about it. So if you haven't seen it, definitely stick to the beginning part of this because I'll have some spoilers at the end of this video, and I will warn you again when I start to get to spoilers. But I'm just going to give my general thoughts first and give you guys a recommendation should you watch this or not. But let's go ahead and get started. First, let's get some information, and I have that information written down here, so if you see me looking down, that's why. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, like I said, Defending Jacob is a 2020 crime drama that is starring Chris Evans, Jaden Martell, Michelle Dockery, and Cherry Jones. Obviously there's more people in the show, but those are like the main cast that we kind of get the most screen time from and are focusing on the most. The premise of this show is that this shocking crime, the murder of a 14-year-old boy named Ben, it shocks this very small town, and the district attorney, which is our main character in this, played by Chris Evans, is assigned to the case. And unfortunately, throughout this, he gets torn between his duty and the love for his son and trying to help his son, because his son does get accused of killing this young boy who was his classmate. So it's a very, very, very interesting premise. It's very gets right to your heart, especially I think if you have children, you might be able to relate to the parents in this show. I don't have any children, but I do have nieces, and I have a younger sister who I pretty much take care of a lot, so I can kind of see like what the parents were feeling through this. But again, I don't have my own children, but I think this one is one that can pull at many people's heartstrings here, because it's kind of this debate, how far would you go for your kids? So that's what we're dealing with here with this show, and let's go ahead and go into some more details. So this is based on a book by the same name, Defending Jacob, and the book is by William Landay, and then it is directed by Morton Tidham. I hope I'm saying those names right. If I didn't, I apologize. But so that's basically what all the things that we have in here. And so we got this whole story of 8 episodes, very condensed. I love when a show is like shorter, but we get the whole story, we get the completion of it, and it doesn't just drag on and on. I don't believe they've said if they're going to be a season 2. There's opening for a season two by the ending, but I don't think that they necessarily need to do a season 2, but we'll get to that in a second. So the rating for this is a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, which critic ratings don't always tell everything, but a majority of people seem to have liked it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into my thoughts on this, and I'll just tell you guys a couple of things that I really enjoyed about it and some things that I did not like. Okay, so starting with things that I will say that I loved or liked, I think the acting and the cast, who they cast in here, and their acting was very, very good. It was very believable. It was very, they played their parts really, really well, I believe. How they were written, how they were directed, I think was incredibly awesome. I think that Chris Evans really, really shines in this, as well as Cherry Jones. She shines as the lawyer, but also Jaden Martell, who I've enjoyed watching anyways. He is from, oh god, I'm gonna say it wrong, because like It and Stranger Things he's from It. Yeah, he's from It. They get mixed up in my mind because it's like kids in the 80s, and he plays in It. Jaden Martell plays in It, and so I'm already like someone that I like his acting, so I know him from something that I've already enjoyed. And Michelle Dockery, who plays the mom, she does a really awesome job too. I think her character was very interesting to watch, her thought process throughout the whole show, because she goes back and forth with her feelings on the accusations against her son. And I'm sorry if I'm telling too much already. I'm terrible at that, but I'll try to let you guys know when I get to like big spoilers and stuff. So right now I'm just trying to be very generic and basic. Okay, I also really liked the way that was directed. I liked the way that they portrayed like the trial and they went kind of back and forth. It's not like huge jumps in time. Like, for example, if you've seen The Witcher, how they go like back and forth in time and it's very confusing. This one wasn't like that, but they do go kind of like forward in time, back in time type of thing, but it wasn't confusing at all. It's not like it gave you everything away though. So you're kind of wondering like, why am I going back and forth? I know this is a time jump, like I know that, but like what happened? And you don't know that until the very end of the season, which I thought was very smart and a good way to portray everything. I think the story itself is pretty strong. I think it really has you look at human nature, and I love that it has this kind of nurture versus nature type of debate in it. How are killers, how do they develop? Very interesting concept to me. It's very, like, I love horror movies anyway, so when you think about it, like, is it the way they were raised? Is that why they became, a killer? Or is that why someone kills? Or is it just like a natural thing? And that's a debate in here because there's something in the family that happened in the family that would make you believe that, oh, this is like something genetic, that this kid maybe possibly killed his classmate. It might be genetic. So that's something that's very interesting in this as well, that nature versus nurture kind of debate. I also like that this is kind of going into your thought process of what kind of lengths will parents do for their children. And this could be something as simple as covering up a ticket, to covering up a murder, or continually letting your kids do stuff even though it might not be right. How much will parents allow their kids to what lengths will they go for their kids to protect them, basically, is what I'm saying. Yeah, I think this movie was really, really good. The whole scenario of it was very interesting. So those are all of my things that I really like about this movie. There wasn't anything, I don't really remember the soundtrack, so that maybe means there's not anything super special about it. I might have to go back and look over it again. But I would definitely say that this is something I would like recommend to like my family member or a friend or something. So there you go. Alright, negatives for this, or kind of like mixed, is the pacing of it I think was a little strange, because we just kind of go, everything just kind of happens, but the pacing towards the end was a little weird and strange, and I think it could have been done better, or maybe even extended just a little bit, like extend because it was only 8 episodes, and I think they did really good for just 8 episodes. Like I said, I do love shorter seasons. That's why I watch a lot of like Asian shows, because theirs is usually just one season and that's the end. You don't keep dragging things on. So I do like that, but I think they could have added like maybe 10 episodes instead of 8, and I think it would have just fleshed out the story a little bit more, given us more background and stuff on the family, and just paced out everything a lot more evenly, I guess is the way I want to say it. So yeah, another thing I want to say, I haven't read the book, but I do love to compare books to like their source material, like movies and TV shows to their source material. It's just something I love, because I love to read, and a lot of things I've read have been made into movies, and I just love to compare. And although I haven't read this book, I do like to go and read about what were some differences between the book and the movie, and there were some differences between the book and the movie. Doesn't make that big of a difference to me, because again, I have not read the book, so it doesn't make that big of a difference. But when you see how what they changed about the like ending part, it does kind of weigh on what you feel about the movie, the show in general. They changed it up, and I like that they left it very ambiguous in the end of the show. I like that, actually. Sometimes ambiguous is kind of like annoying, but this one I think is great, because you really never get a definite answer. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my spoiler section. Again, spoiler warning, don't keep watching if you have not seen this show. Before I get to that though, I do say I would recommend this show. If you haven't seen it, definitely watch it. I would say this one is really good. If I was to give it a grade, I would give it like an A- for sure. I really did enjoy it, and I watched it in like 2 days. Very short, easy to consume, great show. So for my rating, I'll give it an A-. But let me go ahead and go into the ending. So this is a spoiler. Of course, this is going to be a spoiler. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to click off now. Alright, so at the end of the show, Jacob is proven to be innocent, because this other guy that was a suspect confesses. But then we come to find out that the dad's father, who was convicted of murder, actually did this. He's the one that made this guy confess. It wasn't just this guy just confessed because he was, you know, he had a heart now that Jacob was on trial. He was literally forced to confess, and then they killed him and made it look like a suicide. So in reality, we still don't know if Jacob killed this boy or not. And then we get to the end and they go on a trip, and then he might have killed someone else and he didn't. And now, you know, the father confesses to the mother with everything, and she just in her mind just cannot get over, did my son kill this boy or not? And she makes a very drastic decision with her and her son that causes an accident. And it's just really interesting to see like how that thought process is for the mother. Like, did my son really commit this, and can I live with this? So I really love the ending, because in reality we don't know, did Jacob really kill his classmate? Did he really do it? And in the book, which is the difference I was talking about earlier, it is really heavily implied that he did, because another young kid goes missing when they're on the trip to Mexico. But in this one, the girl comes back. She doesn't end up dead. So you really don't know, did Jacob really kill Ben or not? We don't know. So in my opinion, I kind of feel like he did kill Ben, because there's just too much, like, especially when they were in court, there was so much evidence against him. And then the things that he wrote online and stuff, if you guys have watched it, in my opinion, I think he kind of did. I think he killed him. But we'll never know. And that's the beauty of this, is the ambiguity. You don't know if he killed him or not. So if there is a season 2, it'll be really interesting. But I don't think they need to do a season 2 necessarily. If they do, I hope they write it correctly and write it nice. I mean, like, write it, you know, good, like, as a follow-up, but not necessarily needing it, because now you're left with these parents that have to live with this, that they went through all this stuff for their kid, and he might be a murderer. So I love that ending. I think it's really genius. Yeah, so that's everything I want to say about this movie. I really did this show. Keep saying movie. This show, I really did enjoy it. I think it was a really good show. I was very entertaining. Again, the pacing was a little off, and there was things here and there, but overall the show was really, really good. I definitely would recommend it. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and see it. If you made it this far and you just listened to all those spoilers and you haven't seen it, you should have clicked off, but still check it out, because it's really good and entertaining. And you guys, leave me down some comments in the comment section. Do you think Jacob killed this boy Ben? Do you think he killed his classmate? What are your thoughts? Is he innocent or is he guilty? Tell me down below, you guys. Thank you for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Check out some other content on my channel. I'll leave some links down in the description box if you want to see other reviews. And I will check you guys out later. Stay safe out there. Bye bye. Adios.